Well, I guess your music is really rebellious in its own way because of the style, it seems. How do you think that fits in with everything that's going on right now and what's popular?
Um, yeah, I've never been one to take to the norm.
Mhm,
And I don't do stuff against the grain just for the sake of being weird.
mhm,
I've just never really, most of the things that catch people's attention don't usually catch mine. I try. I don't talk about smoking weed and I don't romanticize doing drugs and drinking. I don't talk about molesting girls and like I'm not gonna come out and be
yeah,
like misogynistic in any way. And even the cleanest, most like pristine, like Mac Miller right now,
yeah,
19-year-old
yeah,
kid, tearing up the scene.
Yep.
yeah,
He is doing everything right, and he's this clean, like everybody likes him. He's young, he's adorable. He talked about bitches and
yeah.
hoes
I was just listening to his
constantly.
new mixtape.
Yeah, and he makes good music. I'm a
Yeah.
supporter of him. I am rooting for that kid really hard.
Mhm,
But like, he talks about silly little hoes constantly,
mhm.
and he talks about bitches on his dick, and he's obviously talking about weed. I mean, like, if you're
Yeah.
not advertising weed, you're not a rapper these days. Weed, whatever. I'm not gonna talk about it in my songs. Actually, that's not true. I talk about weed a lot in my songs.
Yeah, I was
I'm not
listening
gonna
to it.
advertise it
Yeah,
and try and be like,
You
I'm
brag.
cool. Right. Because, like, is it really cool? Like, a lot of people smoke weed. Good. Is it cool? Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just don't see it as one of these, like stripes on your sleeve of being like, yo, man, do you know how much weed I smoke? Like,
mhm,
give me my credit.
yeah,
Like, congratulations. A lot of people do that. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. Whereas I think that for a lot of people, it's like, it's more you're selling an atmosphere. And I think that, like, what Snoop was able to do was sell an atmosphere, of, like, a party idea.
mhm,
For some reason, like when Chronic 2001 dropped, and yeah, Chronic 2001, Nate Dogg's line, yeah, 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 smoke weed every day,
Yeah.
that struck a chord with so many people.
yeah.
And it's so simple, and it's so dumb, but like, why did that strike such a chord? Everybody knows that line. You could say, like, weed is good sometimes, or like, sometimes it's a fun thing to partake in. Smoke weed as a command every day. It's kind of extreme, and that's the line that everybody likes because people
Yeah.
like this extreme idea. I think this frivolousness of like being irresponsible to the point of you're not doing it because like you're a bad person, just because like I can, and that's what Mac has going for him. That's what Asher has going for him. That's what a lot of these MCs have going for them. Kind of using all the white guys, but even Wiz has this kind of like effortless style about him, and I think that people like that. Now, that's not reality for most people. It's not reality for me. I work really hard and I enjoy it. I'm not like one of those people who's like, oh, life's a struggle and like I'm in the gutter and la la la. Like I have a job and I work really hard at my job. I make my own music. I'm an independent artist, so like everything comes from me.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? This is kind of like this fantastical element I think people like that I don't really use because I'm pretty realistic in my music.
Wow.
Well, I'm fortunate enough to, as a person who's kind of like in the scene in New York, to like be surrounded by really high quality music all the time, and like that's what I'm used to kind of being infiltrated with is this underground artistic sensibility that these MCs are really creating. And then occasionally, if I'm at the gym or like if I'm at someone's house and like the radio's on or something like that, all of a sudden I'll be like, oh, this is okay. Let me like pay attention to this for a moment. What I really do value about the guys that I hang out with and that I hear a lot in the scene is that like they rap about the mundane. They rap about the things that aren't necessarily popping, but like are still interesting. They rap about what they have in their pockets during the day. They rap about their grandma.
Mhm.
They rap about what would have happened if they wouldn't have been a rapper. Lupe has a great song
Yeah.
about if he wasn't a rapper, and it's about creativity. Like you're making art, and like if a painter, you know what I mean, like yeah, it was great in the Renaissance when everybody painted the same thing, but like we get it. Like there's a value, but like I think that's the same in hip hop. Like it's this circular thing that there's not really going to be growth. How are we expected to grow as a genre and consequently as a culture if our content is just so repetitive?
Mhm.
There's much more to life, obviously, than being braggadocious. And everybody says like, "Yo, man, but that's the roots of hip hop. It's the battles, the MCs, the competition. You got to talk about how good you are." Like, all right, but instead of talking about how good you are, be how good you are.
Yeah.
It just seems like a lot of people skip that step. I mean, that's what's beautiful about Cash Money, is that the first time anybody ever heard of them was when they were the Cash Money Millionaires.
Mhm.
Like, well, when were you the Cash Money Thousandaires? Like, it just went from nowhere to being on top, and that was genius because like that was this extreme thing that everybody kind of caters to. And now they're the Cash Money Billionaires, obviously,
Mhm.
but that's that extreme that everybody goes towards, and I think that a lot of the successful groups kind of have that. Now, I don't know. It's interesting. Like, I would never say like it's wrong with hip hop because like I respect what it is and I respect where it comes from. I respect why they're doing it. I just wish that there was more of a balance of those heads doing it, and then there was also other people in the mainstream who were able, at least nowadays, to kind of like what Ghostface was able to do was he was all about language. Ghostface, he would have albums where you know what the hell he was talking about, but it just sounded dope, and he was talking about things that like somebody probably knew what it meant. I didn't, but a lot of his language was artistic. It's like an impressionist painting. Like you get the point. I can't tell you what it is, but like I get a sentiment from it, and I think that nowadays there's such a stranglehold on what's going to be on the radio. You know, you gotta mention weed, you gotta mention liquor, you gotta kind of be saying stuff about bitches, probably about guns. I can't think of on an indie level or on like a major level like white MCs who don't really promote drug use. I can hardly think of any. I listen to their stuff and like when I hear heads, and I'm not trying to knock any of them because I do respect what they do, and like I'm a supporter of, in some ways speaking, all those dudes. But I'm just like, can you please not mention like Vicodin and like Darvocets and like molesting the sleeping girl? Like, haven't we been there?
Yeah.
Like, are you championing this for a reason? Like, if there's a reason, tell me about it. If they can convince me that it's real, fine. That's what M was able to do, was convince the world that it was real, and apparently it was, that he was popping those pills. I don't see Sam Adams popping those pills. And maybe he's molesting sleeping girls, but like, I'm not throwing him a high five for that. It's not cool to me.